So guys,
because of
there
this
has been an
kind of
update
pastors,
on the case of
this
Pastor
Chinedu in
Chinedu,
Enugu
who was
State,
considered the prime suspect
by
in the case
4
of the
children,
4
the
deceased
same
children
parents.
found in
Because
a
of
cassava
this kind
farm
of
in
pastors, now
Enugu
make
State.
you see
The
people,
community had stormed
they
its private
question all
residence
these pastors
during a
online
demolition
because of all these
exercise
things where they
authorized by
do.
the state government,
There are
and
many
what they found
pastors
inside
like
its
this
residence
Chinedu
was
living
beyond
freely.
disturbing.
Not
Recall
be the one
that
they
on the
catch the
16th
thief.
of May
This one is
2025, a
happening
couple
live
who
in
have now
Enugu
been
State.
described as
So
Pampenal
that when they
farmers
talk, when
had
I
left
say
their 4
when I say
children
people they
at
talk
home
about
in
pastors,
Ibaragwaka.
maybe it's something
Igbo
they
is a
bring
South local
out
government
in
area
the
of Enugu
public
State to go about
domain,
their
in the
daily
social media.
business.
People will be talking about it.
However,
You will
on
see some
returning
kind
home in
people
the
when they
evening,
call
they
themselves
discovered
Christian.
that the 4
We just say,
children were
no, you don't
missing.
need to talk to
The
man
search
of
was
God like that.
conducted throughout
Tell
the
you
community,
that.
and later in
Who
the
tell
night,
you?
the 4 children were
On
found
that day,
lying close
there
to
is
each
nothing
other
like
in a
man
cassava
of
farm
God,
within
man
the
of
area.
God. We
They
will
were
all be
all
judged
gone.
the same,
Upon
equally.
close examination,
We are all
it
the
was
same in the
observed
eyes
that
of God.
each child had similar signs of
Because of all
injury.
these ones that we
It
not
appeared
cannot be
as though
genuine.
they had
Anything when they
suffered
talk, it cannot
trauma
be genuine.
to
There's
the brain.
something
On
Dickie
further search
Famous
within the
said.
farmland,
Instead
they
of you
found a
to
wooden
concentrate
pestle
on your
with visible
pastors,
stains lying
concentrate
on the
on
ground.
your God.
This pestle painted a
That
clearer
trust,
picture
that
of
belief
what
when you
actually
put on
happened
man
to the 4
like
children.
you,
A
put
pastor
it on
whose
God.
identity at the
Believe in
time
this
was a
God
tightly kept
Almighty,
secret
not
was
in your
considered a
pastor,
prime suspect in the murder.
not in your
It wasn't
father,
exactly
Reverend Father,
clear why the
not in your
pastor was
prophet.
considered the prime
Believe in
suspect
God
at the
Almighty.
time. But
They came
judging
to
from
claim
what
that
the
they are
community
calling
has now
God.
exposed
Now
about him,
that God when
they
they
may have
call,
been
what
right
did they use?
all
Do they use
along. The
anything to
pastor's
start
name has
calling
been
that God?
revealed to be
Why can't you
Chinedu
on your
Solomon
own still
Ezedike.
call on
He is
that
the
God?
founder of the
God
Light of God
is a
Synagogue Church
father to
in
all.
Ibaragwaka,
His
Enugu
ears
State.
are open.
Pastor
Are
Chinedu's
you
church
ready
was
to
said to have shared a
communicate, to
fence
talk to
with
your
the
God,
residents of the
to
4
do the
victims.
right thing?
It was believed that he
So
had been
stop
monitoring the 4
believing in
children,
these men.
patiently waiting for when the
Forget.
parents would leave
The
them
more you
alone in
look,
the
the
house,
less you
so
see. Then
that
they
he
do
would scale
us.
the fence to
Some of
carry out
them,
the
there are
gruesome
things
act.
genuine
The
ones. So
community members
don't
initially
quote me wrong.
suspected that
Just
he
look
may
at what
have
this
killed
one
them
did now in
for
Enugu.
possible ritual
People now watch the
purposes,
video.
and after they
How
paid a visit to
everything they
his
take
church
on
and
find
private
out. Come
residence,
believe them.
what
The
they
suspect come up
discovered
knows that
may have
now be the
strengthened
really
these
suspect.
suspicions.
May God
When
have mercy
Chinedu
on
was
us. So
questioned by the police, he did. So guys, there has been an update on the case of Pastor Chinedu, who was considered the prime suspect in the case of the 4 deceased children found in a cassava farm in Enugu State. The community had stormed his private residence during a demolition exercise authorized by the state governor, and what they found inside his residence was beyond disturbing. Recall that on the 16th of May 2025, a couple who have now been described as Pampenal farmers had left their 4 children at home in Ibaragwaka. Igbo is a South local government area of Enugu State, to go about their daily business. However, on returning home in the evening, they discovered that the 4 children were missing. A search was conducted throughout the community, and later in the night, the 4 children were found lying close to each other in a cassava farm within the area. They were all gone. Upon close examination, it was observed that each child had similar signs of injury. It appeared as though they had suffered trauma to the head. On further search within the farmland, they found a wooden pestle with visible stains lying on the ground. This pestle painted a clearer picture of what actually happened to the 4 children. A pastor whose identity at the time was a tightly kept secret was considered a prime suspect in the murder. It wasn't exactly clear why the pastor was considered the prime suspect at the time, but judging from what the community has now exposed about him, they may have been right all along. The pastor's name has been revealed to be Chinedu Solomon Ezedike. He is the founder of the Light of God Synagogue Church in Ibaragwaka, Enugu State. Pastor Chinedu's church was said to have shared a fence with the residents of the 4 victims. It was believed that he had been monitoring the 4 children, patiently waiting for when the parents would leave them alone in the house, so that he would scale the fence to carry out the gruesome act. The community members initially suspected that he may have killed them for possible ritual purposes, and after they paid a visit to his church and private residence, what they discovered may have strengthened these suspicions. When Chinedu was questioned by the police, he denied committing the crime. However, he pointed fingers at his driver, alleging that he may have done it because there was a time in the past when he threatened the children's father with a pestle. The driver in question is said to be on the run currently. The community youths were angered by the horrific crime and then took to the streets to stage a peaceful protest. They demanded that the pastor, whom they alleged to be a fake, should be thoroughly investigated and also brought to book. The police had transferred the case to the State Criminal Investigation Department for a thorough investigation. However, it was during the period of this investigation that another disturbing crime was uncovered with